Hey, fifth graders. All right, so here's the lesson for 9.2. I don't know. Well, whenever you guys get to it, you get to it. Basically, I'm recording this on the same day that I did 9.1. If you can do both of them, awesome. I realize that I'm recording these a little bit later. It's almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So maybe you guys have already done these on your own, but that's all right. So first of all, there's a couple things we have to talk about. The first thing here, my handy dandy little thing, is the x-axis and the y-axis. So when we're talking about a grid or a graph, that sort of thing, basically you have an up and down line and you have a side-to-side line. Okay, the side-to-side line is the x-axis. The up and down one, or the vertical axis, is the y-axis. Okay, you can see the two definitions there. Basically, just remember that the letter y is kind of taller, right, than x. Like when you write lowercase y, it's a little bit longer up and down than x is. So it's the one that goes up and down is kind of the way that I always try and remember it. But you're gonna have to kind of know that x goes side to side and y goes up and down, because this will come up over and over and over again in math. So it's one of those things you just need to know. Then we also need to talk about ordered pair. All right, so we've actually seen ordered pair in our morning work a few times, but here again is kind of the definition. But basically, it's just the coordinates, and you might hear me call them a coordinate pair sometimes. I think I always heard them called a coordinate pair when I was growing up. But ordered pair is fine; it doesn't matter. But they are the coordinates for any point on a graph or on a grid. They are written with parentheses around them. And the x comes first, and then the y is second. X is first alphabetically, so that's kind of the way that you can remember that. But basically, you just always go over and then go up is kind of how it works. Of course, obviously, there's going to be times where you can actually have negatives, so you might go over in a negative direction. You might not go up, but instead go down. That'll happen later on in future math classes. But for our purposes, it's always in the positive, so you always go over to the right, and then you'll go up some distance. So let's take a look just at a couple examples here. And it's kind of sad that we can't meet together. This would have been one where I would have had my little magnetic graph paper up on the board, and I would have had all of you guys come up and graph some point on the graph paper. But that's okay. So I've drawn up a very rough sketch of one. You can see that it only goes up and down to 6 on or up to 6 on the y-axis, and it goes all the way over to 8. 0, 0, so the point where the two lines meet, that's called the origin. I don't know that comes up in our book, but if it does, that's what it is. Certainly it will come up later. But yeah, so anyway, so if I was going to have you guys find just these 4 points, right? So find A is at 2, 4, B is at 6, 1, C is at 4, 2, and D is at 1, 6, which you'll notice that I did inverse pairs or opposite ones. It's kind of an easy way to see if you guys know what you're talking about, is I just give you the same numbers but backwards, and then you have to know which one's X, which one's Y. So let's do the first one. So A is 2, 4. So again, X comes first, so we're going to go over to 2. So we'll go over to 2, and then we go up to 4, and then we put our dot, and then we just label it with an A. Okay, it'll look just like that. For B is 6, 1, so we're going to go over to 6, up to 1, which is just going to be right there, and that'll be point B. C is 4, 2, so again, over to 4, up to 2. And D is 1, 6, so you go over to 1, and you go up to 6, and that is D. Oops, this was C. So it's just that simple. This is not a very hard lesson. In fact, this is one that's really quick and painless. It's just a lot of like, here's the numbers, graph them out kind of a thing. So do your best for the homework. I believe it's just everything. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Page 543, at least what I was originally going to give you is evens. I'm not sure. Do whatever I wrote on that sheet. But just remember, X is first, Y is second. I believe there might be some problems that ask you, like, what is the distance? Is that in this one? Yeah, I'm not sure. If it does ask you like the distance, because of course we use this a lot with maps and a lot of the things that you'll be doing in here, with this information, outside of just like plotting random points on a graph, is or on a grid, is like putting down locations. And so they'll say, you know, the school is at this point, so and so's house is at this point. How far away are they? And what they mean is they want you to just count up the line segments, right? So if you let's see, I'll draw this real fast, and it's going to be really rough, but that's okay. Okay, so if I had, fix these just a little bit. Okay, so here we have it like that, right? So if I said that I want you to go from point D, which is way up here, to point C, which is over here. So point D to point C, and I wanted you to tell me what the distance is between those. All you would do is count the line segments that you're going to go through. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 across, and then we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So we went 3 over, 4 down. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you'd say that you went 7 blocks, because it would probably be on a talking about a map where maybe it would be 7 miles or just whatever. But that's kind of how you do that. I don't think that that comes up in this lesson, but it does come up in a future lesson. So just kind of a forewarning anyway. So, all right, I hope that helps. Keep up with the math work, and hopefully I'll get to see you guys again sometime soon.